are talking about the creature feature Blood Surf, which is also known as KROCODYLUS, which is also known as a mock. Now this is a 2000 movie, and I love creature features. They're one of my favourite genres. And this came out around the same time as Toby Hooper's movie Crocodile. And you know, so we had these kind of crocodile movies that were coming out, and this one has a kind of a tagline that I thought was going to be great. This might have sharks versus crocodiles, and it does, but it's a little disappointing. So let me explain the plot here. This follows a small group of people, 2 surfers and a kind of a small crew, as they are wanting to kind of make some extreme videos to try and get some type of you know, promotion, some sort of money from it. So what they want to do is go into this kind of very kind of like idyllic kind of island, but it has a high shark population. And what they want to do is kind of chum the waters and then sort of surf in with all the kind of the sharks kind of like chasing them and stuff like that, and essentially get someone to film it. Hence the name Blood Surf. And however, when they're there, they find that the sharks aren't the problem. There is a massive saltwater crocodile which is on the island, which is after them as well as the sharks, and ultimately sort of chases them down, wanting to munch on them and anyone that comes in its path. So I was thinking, man, there's going to be a shark versus crocodile fight. I want to see that. And although there is a scene where we do assume that the crocodile is fighting sharks, it's, you know, all you see is some splashes on the water, so that was disappointing. Now, I should mention this came out in the year 2000, same year as Toby Hooper's Crocodile, which gets a lot of shit, but I actually kind of quite like that movie. I like it a lot better than this one, I have to say. This movie, even in 2000, I thought the effects here were atrocious. And watching it now for this review, it is laughably bad, the effects. So, you know, we have our kind of small group of characters, and they're somewhat cartoonish, but kind of fun at the kind of the same time. But they're sort of characters, you know, straight from the get-go. These 2 are going to live. The rest of them are obviously just cannon fodder, because they are not your stereotypical kind of like pure people or whatever. Which is a shame, and it does a lot of cliches. Of course, it's the ethnic minorities that die first in this movie. The actual crocodile itself, depending on the shots, they use a variety of different things here. There's some truly bad composite shots here in regards to where they've kind of like put in, especially when you'll first see it when you see the surfing scene, where they've obviously put fins in the water and stuff like that. But there's scenes with the actual crocodile as well. But then the funniest scenes in this movie are where we have our kind of underwater shots of the crocodile, where they've used a puppet, but the crocodile doesn't really look like a crocodile. It's this weird misshapen mess. But in other scenes where you'll have like, there are scenes where they've obviously built a large practical effect, and that looks quite good, where you'll actually see it kind of eating people. That does look quite good. Still doesn't quite look right in regards to a crocodile, but it looks a lot better. But the scenes where we have like what looks to be like a hand puppet, oof, it is rough. The actual sets as well, that we have this kind of this set where there's this kind of like old ruin and stuff, and it just looks like a set, you know, it doesn't look real. There are some location shooting here, but nonetheless there are certain scenes here that think, man, that looks really fake. The characters themselves, like I've mentioned, they're all kind of, it's a cheesy B-movie, so, you know, what do we expect ultimately? I kind of like them. There's a guy here with kind of like with bleached blonde hair, and he's like the kind of the doofus type guy. I actually kind of quite liked him the best. Our kind of heroic guy is a little bit too kind of like clean cut and kind of like you know, typical kind of leading man. He's just not that interesting. He's kind of bland. The other guy, his friend though, much more interesting, much more of a kind of fun sort of character. So there you go. There's obviously some of the things here as well. It goes on the kind of the city side. I mean, we have our kind of our female lead, and she's dating the guy who's like the producer or the director of this kind of like who want to do the short. And this guy's kind of painted to be a bit smarmy, and he gets killed. And yeah, he's a bit of a dick, but she's like, oh well, because he's a bit of a dick. I mean, this is your boyfriend who you were dating like a day ago, and yet when he dies, because he was a little bit of a bit selfish or something, like, oh well, I'll go with this guy instead. I mean, it's just like not real kind of like people, if that makes sense. Now, like I've said, it's a B movie from the year 2000, creature feature. Do we expect high art? No, but I'm reviewing this in 2018, and it really just glares now that these kind of like sort of unrealistic portraits, very kind of typical of that kind of era, just kind of hastily written characters. It's just about kind of spectacle rather than kind of like characterizations or kind of like or any type of kind of like realism from a human perspective. Like I said, I did like the kind of one of the surfer dudes. He was kind of quite fun, and you know the acting isn't bad. I've got to say, it's just that it's not particularly well written here. But the effects here, I feel, are the thing that will really kind of like be noticeable, because they are quite poor, especially by today's standard. And I thought they were poor back in 2000s. So you might be want to watch it purely as a curiosity, because like I said, it's kind of like, it's now on that kind of Plan 9 from outer space thing where it is kind of pretty bad, but it's still kind of fun to watch at the same time. And unfortunately, we did get the promise of some shark and crocodile action, which would have been amazing. Not in real life, of course, but I would like to see it in a film. So I'll give this movie a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.